Welcome back. I'm Wyatt Goolsby in for Lauren Ashburn. Pope Francis welcomes more than 300 Special Olympics soccer players to the Vatican today, thanking them for promoting inclusion and the dignity of all people. The Holy Father making those comments during a papal audience celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Special Olympics. Players from 9 European countries are kicking off a 3-day soccer tournament in Rome. Francis praises the event where athletes with and without disabilities play together. We're joined by Tim Shriver, chairman of the Special Olympics now. Tim, welcome to the program. You and Special Olympic athletes met Pope Francis in the Vatican today. Tell me about the experience and what you said to the Holy Father.
I mean, it was actually an extraordinary experience, mostly because of what happened that wasn't scripted. One of our young athletes, a little young woman with Down syndrome, just 3 years old, went up to present the Pope with a bright red pair of Special Olympics tennis shoes, sneakers. They ended up in a long conversation, the two of them, the Pope seeming not to want to be interrupted while he was talking to Gemma. And then the next thing you know, Gemma is up sitting next to him on the dais as he delivered remarks and gave his blessing, displacing one of the wonderful bishops who normally would sit there, but finding herself right at the center of the Holy Father's attention in a way that we really could not have imagined, but which couldn't help but remind us of the words of the gospel, "Let the children come to me." It was almost as though the Pope was channeling that energy to the whole world. It was beautiful.
It does sound like an incredible experience. During your meeting, Pope Francis said sport is a universal language that can promote inclusion. So how does the Special Olympics carry that mission out?
Well, as I said to the Holy Father today, I think of Special Olympics athletes almost as prophets. Most of them come from vulnerable conditions where, not because of their medical conditions, but because of the way society has treated them. They've been excluded frequently from schools, from healthcare institutions, from employment, from communities, often even from their own families in parts of the world. So these are people who have endured exclusion and have suffered from oppression, if you will. The Special Olympics experience is all about bridging that, allowing the athlete to come to the center of our attention so that he or she can show us the gift of what it means to include. In this metaphor, the Special Olympics athlete becomes the teacher, the prophet, the icon of inclusion. And as I said to the Holy Father, our athletes can show us how to include all kinds of people. Not just people with intellectual disabilities, which is what we do, but also all kinds of people who are struggling to be included in societies all around the world.
Sure, it's such an interesting analogy that you make there. You know, the Special Olympics is celebrating 50 years. You've had a huge impact on children and adults with disabilities and how the world sees them. So reflect on this anniversary, this milestone for a minute, and what do you hope to accomplish for the organization going forward?
Well, I hope someday every child with an intellectual disability will attend a regular school in their neighborhood. I hope at that school they'll find a Special Olympics unified sports program where they train together with their non-disabled peers, where they compete together against their neighboring schools, where they learn how to play in the first language, really, of human experience is play. They learn how to accept and understand the beauty of the human family. I mean, this is what this is all about. We're here. The Knights of Columbus have been with us for 50 years. We hope they'll help support us, as the church has and other religious institutions around the world have, help support us in the next 50 years to make the Special Olympics experience not a once a year or a once every other year experience, but an everyday experience in communities around the world. There are so many mothers and fathers who have children with special needs. They're looking for a chance to be proud of their children, to show the world that their children have gifts. They deserve that chance, and if we can help make that possible on playing fields in communities all over the world, at the end of the village road, at the center of the city pavement, no matter where it is, we expect, hope, and are challenging the world to welcome our athletes into the schools of the world. Let us show them how to play unified. Let's create a more unified and inclusive future.
Tim, you yourself are Catholic. How has being part of the Special Olympics helped you grow in your Catholic faith over the years?
Well, I sometimes think of the Special Olympics experience as almost like an eighth sacrament. We come together, we do something that is quite ordinary, but we make it extraordinary by the power that we vest in this experience to manifest, in my view, the goodness of God. There are so many ways in which the gospel comes alive at Special Olympics, where we remember the words, "You are more beautiful than the lilies of the field," where we remember the prophetic language that God is closer to us than even we are to ourselves. Somehow, at the Special Olympics events, these words carry a life, a meaning, an experience, a feeling. And we, at least in my view, come to illuminate in some new way the power of the gospel, and I hope and believe very much following in the teachings of the gospel to try to do as the church has taught for generations and centuries, to show the beauty and dignity of every human being. When you play your way into that, instead of just talking about it as I'm doing now, you find yourself experiencing it, not just hearing about it. That's the Special Olympics gift, to experience in some real way the meaning of being united with others in the tradition and in the message that the gospel teaches.
Such an important message and an important mission. Well, good luck with the tournament and, of course, with the 50th anniversary. Tim Shriver, Chairman of the Special Olympics, thanks so much for talking with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.